Kinkhabwala joining the show now. She called the Browns game, or was on the call for the Browns game on Sunday, and now she joins us today to talk about it. What's up, Aditi?
How are you guys? What's going on?
What was that stat that you said last week about the backup quarterbacks when you on the call?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that kind of got laid to waste. But, I would have started DTR. Sorry. Like, Jameis is so lovable, and he obviously went viral the week before, and he brings this wonderful energy, but I just sort of felt like DTR, and I still feel this way, DTR is maybe the better option moving forward. It's smart to see what you have in him.
The only reason I wouldn't do it, Aditi, is two reasons. One, I think Jameis gives you a chance to see more of your skill position talent and where they are, like Cedric Tillman. Two, I have a hard and fast rule when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL. If they weigh less than Aditi Kinkhabwala, they can't start. And DTR is the only quarterback in the NFL that weighs less than you. So, he's like 74 pounds.
I get Kyler Murray this week, so let's see.
No, he weighs more than you. Come on now.
With Kyler Murray.
Yeah. But I just DTR can't stay healthy.
I think that even Bryce Young is a little bit sturdier than Kyler Murray, maybe.
All right, if you fought Bryce Young, would you win?
Come on, I'm not a violent person, especially on today of all days. Let's not go in that direction.
Fair. That's
point. Okay.
That's a good point. We'll start.
Of all days, not that we're going to meld into that, but obviously Aditi's anxiety levels are very, very high.
I like it.
Reining it in.
Let's bring it back in.
You have Kyler Murray. Who are the Cardinals playing this week? I don't even know, offhand.
The Jets. Aaron Rodgers, who shares a birthday with me.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
Why?
Well, he and I share a birthday. How about that? Britney Spears' birthday is also on December 2nd, if that counts for anything.
What is she doing these days?
Yeah.
Does she still make music?
No.
Just being rich?
I don't know. No, I think that she finally got out of that conservatorship with her dad, and things are sort of moving forward.
I don't even know how that loophole even works.
One more time.
Like I think my wife got me in a conservatorship.
That's possible.
That is only for your own good, Jay.
Right.
That's true.
I'm like, what do you mean it's declined? What are you talking about? Yes, sir, there's been a hold placed on your card.
Aditi, where do the Browns go from here? Do you think that how do you think the players react to this loss? Obviously, Jameis goes in there against Baltimore. It brings the life back into the whole locker room and things like that. And, now that they take this loss in there in the bye week, where do you think they are mentally?
There's a little piece that you have to acknowledge and recognize that there was a little fool's gold in the win against the Ravens, right? There were 3 interceptions that were dropped. The Chargers didn't drop the interceptions, obviously.
They did drop one in the first quarter.
You think about... Well, okay, fine. So then there would have been 4. But, Nick Chubb kept running against a light box and couldn't get anywhere, which makes you wonder about the actual runs, the design of the runs. This is not about the effectiveness of Nick Chubb. You wonder about the effectiveness of the runs themselves. Then you look, and they never threw outside the numbers. I mean, they couldn't do anything with the zone. The Chargers were playing zone. They couldn't do anything against that. It just felt like the Browns offensively weren't getting anything going, and here we were saying, oh, well, look, the line is finally healthy, and look, for the first time all year, they're starting the same 5 in consecutive games, and look, Cedric Tillman is really finally being targeted and has come on as a result of that. And, it's interesting. We talked to Jameis Winston about, I've said this to you on the show before, that I love Jameis Winston as a teammate, that it's so much fun to watch him on the sideline, that he is constantly walking up and down that sidelining guys. And I said he even did that when he was the 3rd quarterback unexpectedly, right? 2 weeks ago against the Bengals. So I asked him about this, and he said, I'm not as much of a cheerleader. I'm not as much of a rah-rah guy, were his exact words. When he's playing. He said when he's playing, he has to think about playing. And so he's talking to guys, and he's asking questions more, and he's saying, what are you seeing, and what's going on here? And he's not necessarily bringing that same juice that he brings when he's not playing. And I will say this, despite things not going well for the Browns, the sideline demeanor was still different. There was still, the sideline didn't feel quite as dead as it did to me in the Bengals game. But by the same token, it was almost like the juice and the energy that we've seen from Jameis when he's not playing wasn't necessarily there. And I hate to say that he was tight, because I don't know that he was tight. I don't know that the moment, the idea that, hey, now I'm actually fighting for my second chance, I'm fighting to be the next Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, I don't know that that got to him. He gave us all the right answers about that before, about how, everything is week to week and it's about one opportunity and it's about one play in front of you, and he wasn't going to get wrapped up in that. But even pregame, he did a pregame interview with our Nate Burleson back in the NFL Today studio, and it just was different. And I really feel football needs to be fun. I really feel this way. And the contrast was, I was talking to Derwin James on Saturday, and he must have dropped the word fun 24 times in our conversation. And I actually teased him about it. And he was like, it just feels so different. And at the end of the day, it's a game. It's a game. And there should be some joy in that. And what's that great line? When you can make work play, then everything goes better. And it just, I don't know, it just felt like Jameis was a little bit tighter than he seemed on tape the week before.
Aditi, you talked about joy and fun and things like that. If I'm Myles Garrett, this is not fun. And I look across at Pittsburgh, and you look at your contemporaries, maybe like T.J. Watt, and you say, listen, they haven't had Ben Roethlisberger in a number of years, but Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, they never seem to go Kenny Pickett. They don't seem to be rebuilding.
Gee, I've said this to you for the last couple years when we constantly have these conversations about TJ Watt and Myles Garrett and this and that. And I keep saying, sometimes the defense needs to make some real splash, and the sack isn't enough. Go force a fumble. Go strip the ball. Go get an interception. And when your offense is hurting, sometimes your defense, it's not impossible for the defense to score. It's not impossible for the defense to make a game-breaking play. And this Browns defense, they got stops. Yeah, they made things hard, but they didn't get those turnovers. They didn't create that splash in the same way. And sometimes you need to pick up your offense that way. And when you sit here and you talk about the Steelers have a knack for doing that. They have a knack for the defense getting the ball itself.
We can't even get lined up right now, Aditi. We can't. We got guys running wide open in the secondary, let alone taking the football.
Yeah, and that that was so awful to see, and the miscommunication. And I was watching Rodney McLeod on the sideline. I think I actually even gave this as a hit in the game. And he was gathering all the DBs, and this is what he was talking about. He was saying communication. He was saying, look each other in the eye. Like, make sure you're making eye contact when you're communicating. And it's funny because coming out of the half, I talked to Kevin about what was going on the back end, because the front was obviously getting home, but the back end was being exploited, especially on third down. And I said, what did you address on the back end, and what adjustments do you make? And he was just like, yeah, those miscommunications, that's unacceptable. And that now there was one piece, obviously, let's not forget that Denzel Ward didn't practice during the week as he was going through the concussion protocol, but that's one piece. Otherwise, you had all your safeties back. You had everyone there. I can't explain it. But, this is one of the most maddening parts of this Browns team right now. Penalties, these unforced errors, the attention to detail, it just seems very, very different than what we've seen in previous years. And I know you guys were talking about this before I came on, about someone being a disciplinarian, someone being a heavy. I mean, Bill Callahan was a guy that didn't let anything fly. And seeing a lot of, again, the same phrase, seeing a lot of these unforced errors and this lack of discipline just feels weird. And it just makes you wonder, does there need to be a different level of accountability in the teaching? Does there need to be a different level of detail in the installation?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Stefanski is having a bad year as a coach. I think Kevin, we always say, it seems like when a coach has a bad year, we just, he's a bad coach, let's fire him. I think like a player, a good player can have a bad year. I believe Kevin Stefanski's having a bad season. I think the firing of Alex Van Pelt, which was stupid, and the loss of Bill Callahan, that combination has hurt him. You're talking about how he didn't let anything get by. We had I can't remember who I talked to about this. Maybe it was Sean King. I don't know. But he said, yeah, you need a coach when the head coach is an offensive coach and he's more like a mild-mannered, chill guy, you need somebody else on that staff to be the badass, if you will. And he doesn't have that counterbalance this year. And I don't know if that's the only factor, but certainly Kevin Stefanski's not done a great job this year.
I mean, it's a conversation. You know, it's hard. I mean, you gutted the entire offensive staff that were the guys that he's grown with over 4 years, that he's created the rapport, the good cop, the bad cop, the designation of the roles, all of that. I mean, these are the guys that he's been through the fires of COVID, of 5 different starting quarterbacks, all of that over the last few years. And now they're gone. And the way that he talked about relying on Bill Callahan, just as that seasoned veteran, wise, wily old coach who's been there, who actually knows what's going on. And this is a common thing. You know, I'll tell you that I've had conversations with a member of the Patriots front office about the Patriots staff and how, you know, Gerard Mayo is a young coach who doesn't kind of have that old former head coach that he can count on. Kind of like Mike McDonald has Leslie Frazier. Kind of like, you know, Sean McVay all those years ago brought in Wade Phillips. Like, sometimes you just need that old head. And it's not that Kevin doesn't know what he's doing. It's not that Kevin's not a great coach, but we all need compliments. I mean, in our spouses, we don't marry the exact same person. Like, everybody needs a yin and a yang. And as you said, Kevin is a very, very non-confrontational, relatively easygoing guy, and he's not the one that's going to be holding people's feet to the fire.
Right. Aditi, thanks as always. Great job on the coverage. Enjoy. Is the game
Appreciate
in New
it.
Jersey?
No, I wish. It's in Arizona, actually.
At least it's
so
warm.
I get a lovely midnight red eye through Newark Airport. What was that?
It's in a dome, and it's good weather.
I know, but it's about the travel home, my friend.
Yeah, that's.
I don't. Yeah. The first flight I can take is at midnight, and I have to fly to Newark Airport, sit at Newark Airport for 2 hours, and then get home. But hey, just one last thing: exercise your right to vote. Okay, it's 100%. A major privilege.
Thank you.
Today's a big day.
You're right. Everybody do it.
Sir.
Everybody vote. Thanks, Aditi.